Hello lovelies, today I thought I would do just a sort of sit down chatty video about blogging. If you don't know, I've been blogging for over 2 years now and I've kind of reached this point where I'm having a sort of 2-year blogging crisis, if you will, where I'm thinking, what the hell am I doing? So I thought I would just talk about blogging in general and sort of like the journey of blogging and feeling down about it, which I think a lot of us go through. But anyway, I've been blogging for 2 years. When I started off blogging, it was very different to how I blog now. My content has changed quite radically, and when I look back at stuff I did maybe a year and a half ago, I just think, why? And I think a lot of people will go into their archives and just think, why? I mean, my camera quality was very interesting back then. I used my iPhone, I think 4S, which was, you know, it works as a camera. That was actually the reason I started blogging. It's because I had a phone camera that actually worked. It was a little bit like, why? I think even if you have an iPhone 4S camera, you can still do blogging. I'm not saying that it's a bad camera to use. It's just that I didn't really appreciate things like natural lighting at all. In fairness, actually, I only realised that I was doing natural lighting wrong when I would go into my room and there'd be natural lighting, and then I would put the light on, which you don't do because it makes your photos all yellow and it's really frustrating. But anyway, that's something I've learned only quite recently, so words of wisdom there. Not really. But yeah, one of the things that people always say about blogging is anyone could start a blog, which is probably not something you should say to a blogger, because it's just kind of like, I mean, it's something that a lot of my friends say, like, oh, I could just start a blog and I'll get all this free stuff and it would be so great. And I think people have this illusion that blogging is really easy. I mean, there are very, very few people that have had a break when they just start blogging in the first few months or make it successful that way. So really, when you blog, it's just a lot of hard work. It's a lot of dedication. I've been blogging every week on my blog for over a year now. Even when I go on holiday, I don't give myself breaks, which is a little bit insane. And I think some people just don't realise that, you know, not only is it writing the blog posts, it's actually promoting all of it. And then also, which is the thing that I think a lot of people just don't really realise about blogging, is the self-motivation to actually get to that point where you're posting a lot. I mean, most of us, you know, it's just us. It's our blog. It's all about us. I don't mean it like that, not in a self-centered way, but everything we do kind of reflects on ourselves. So actually staying motivated is really difficult, especially if you slump in your blog views, because it's kind of personal. It's all stuff you're creating. Unless you're doing it with someone else, it's very easy to feel like, what if none of this has a value? Or one of your posts get slow views and you're just thinking, oh, and it reflects on you. And actually to say, this blog is worth something and I want to keep doing it and doing it is really difficult, because then you have to say what I'm creating is worth something. And I think that's actually really difficult. I find it difficult to think I actually write good stuff. A lot of the stuff I look back at and I think, I don't like it. Even now, after 2 years of doing it, when my blog's not successful, but you know, it does reasonably well, I still think pretty much most of the time the stuff that I'm writing is rubbish, and does anyone really care? And that's just difficult. But I think my point is, to bloggers, if you're a non-blogger watching this video, this is probably all just so ridiculously irrelevant. But my thing is to bloggers that I think everyone feels like that. So when you feel like that, just realise that it's kind of something to do with being human. And like, a lot of people think that, and they look at their stuff and they think this is horrendous. And they think, oh, if I just deleted my blog, no one will care. But that's kind of how we all think. And I look at a lot of bloggers that I have so much respect for and I love their content, saying, oh, you know, it's not good enough, etc. And then I think, wow, like, they produce all this great content and then they think that. And it never really comes home where I think, well, maybe my content's okay, but that just gives you perspective, really. What else am I going to talk about? You can tell that this is a very well thought out video because I'm thinking, what else do I want to talk about? I think one of the major things of blogging at the moment is feeling like it's all going to a very bad place. Again, this is like a 2016 vibe, I think, where everything just is going really badly this year. So I think blogging has also kind of been hit by this feeling of bad stuff going on, and there's this thing about blogging kind of not being over, but just getting worse, getting more superficial, whatever. And in all honesty, I think, not that it's rubbish, but I think that people don't realise that a lot of communities have things wrong with them, and it's a little bit inevitable. I only think it's a problem when it's something that happens in a community that's very like specific to that community and is a problem, in which case it's an issue and then that should be sorted with. But you know, think about the blogging community as everyone talks about it as being really great, and 99% of the time I love the blogging community. I've met so many great people through it and I have no complaints. And then there's sort of like 1% of the time when stuff gets a little bit personal and people feel bad about it. But I just think that's people in general, if I'm honest. Especially people online. I think online people say a lot of stuff that they would not say to someone's face. Like, I used to run a Tumblr blog, which was pretty successful. It was a sort of fan blog for Korean stuff. And I cannot tell you the amount of times that I got told to go kill myself. It actually got to the point where it was sort of like, oh, someone's told me to go kill myself. And that was just like, oh, another message that you got. I got told I was racist for like no reason, really like no reason. I got told I was ugly, I got told, you know, all manner of stuff. And I didn't even post photos on my blog really of myself, so being called ugly was sort of, it happened when I didn't post photos, so it was kind of not even based on anything really. And you just realise that sometimes, especially with hate comments and stuff like that, sometimes it's just coming from a place that's not anything to do with you, it's more to do with the person themselves. Especially if you get criticised on your appearance. I mean, honestly, that's probably the lowest thing that someone can go on, someone's appearance. That is, if you're criticised for your appearance, do not take that personally, because it's not even a bad thing to be criticised on really, and the person that's criticising you probably just has issues of their own. And the same runs for like the blogging community and stuff that happens in there. I mean, just saying it's all hate is obviously not a good thing to say, because a lot of it is discussion that kind of gets a little bit negative. I think it's hard online to disagree with people sometimes, because it can very easily go out of hand and get out of control, and people get involved in it, and then some people get a little bit too nasty. But then also we have to learn how to criticise people properly. So it's a difficult area there. I don't really like the phrase blogging drama, but I see it pretty much every week. It's pretty much always some blogging drama. But like I say, I don't think it's got anything to do with bloggers. I think it's just people in general. I genuinely believe that. And it's just the online world. I've had a lot worse. In Tumblr, I had a lot worse than that, so it's kind of how I take it. What else about blogging? Oh yeah, the most depressing thing. Bloggers will know this well, especially bloggers that have been doing it for a while, is just the fact that no one really comments anymore. People used to. People used to a lot, and people used to follow you on blog loving, and they just don't anymore, and it's really sad. I mean, you write something and then it doesn't get any comments, and you just sit there like, oh. And the worst part is, you know that you do it too. Like, I don't comment half as much as I used to, and I just sit there and I'm like, this is a really good post, and then I never say anything. So that's probably what I'll say to bloggers, is that I will make more of an effort to comment on posts, but just because you haven't had comments on a post doesn't mean it's bad or anything. It probably means that the person's just a little bit lazy, doesn't want to. A lot of us are on our mobiles nowadays, so commenting is not easy anyway. Just don't take it too personally. I'm trying to think if there's anything else I can rant about in blogging. Again, this is a lesson as to why you should plan out your videos and edit them. I don't like cutting videos. I like just doing it in one foul swoop. Making it sound really, really dramatic. I like just filming in one cut because I think it's a bit more natural. So that's why you're having a lot of rambling. I don't know, really with this video I just wanted to say, be happy with your blog and keep going at it. If it's really not making you happy, then by all means stop. But a lot of us feel bad about blogging at the moment, and a lot of us you know, don't feel that creative and maybe just have writer's block. But like with blogging, you've just got to push yourself, create content that's out of your comfort zone, have fun, and just enjoy it, and not get too, you know, concerned about numbers and stuff, because it's not worth it. And honestly, like, I will say this right now, in blogging there is just countless numbers of people that inspire me. Bloggers I read who create such great content. There's so much of it, there's so many people doing it well, that I think it's very hard to get, well, very easy rather, to get lost in it all and think, what I do is rubbish. But the truth is that there's just a lot of people doing a really good job at it. And it's fine if you don't get the most views, it's fine if you aren't the most viewed blogger or whatever. Just do what you enjoy and talk about stuff that you want to talk about. Don't be worried about talking about certain topics or things that you think aren't, you know, appealing, because there will be someone out there who reads it and thinks, this is so cool that this person's talking about it. It's often the things that we don't talk about that people want to read about the most. But anyway, it's rant over. I hope you have a really good Sunday. I'm probably going to be snuggling up in blankets because the cold weather. Finally, I've had enough of the heat wave. Anyway, thank you for watching, lovelies. Bye!